You're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be putting the on the road? You didn't know that was what?
That here was locked down.
You do know that I was not locked down. What about you? Okay. Sheriff what? When you know that there is a lockdown here, take them. Immediately take them to the quarantine center. You're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be moving on the road? You do know that what?
That here was locked down.
You do know that here was not locked down. What about you? Okay. Sheriff what? When you know that there is a lockdown here, take them. Immediately take them to the quarantine center. You're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be moving on the road? You do know that what?
That here was locked down.
You do know that here was not locked down. What about you? Okay. Sheriff what? When you know that there is a lockdown here, take them. Immediately take. You're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be moving on the road? You do know that what?
That here was locked down.
You do know that here was not locked down. What about you? Okay. Sheriff what? When you know that there is a lockdown here, take them. Immediately take. You're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be moving on the road? You do know that what? Because they will be tried by the court, and I've told the Attorney General all the vehicles were impounded must be auctioned. But you're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be moving on the road? You do know that what?
That here was locked down.
Because they will be tried by the court, and I've told the Attorney General all the vehicles were impounded must be auctioned. But you're the staff of where? Huh? So why would you be moving on the road? You do know that what?
That here was locked down.
You do know that here was not locked down. What about you? Okay. Sheriff what? Because they will be tried by the court, and I've told the Attorney General all the vehicles were impounded must be auctioned. But tomorrow the Attorney General will advertise those vehicles and we will auction them. Because we are talking about life. We're not talking about people who do not understand what this war is all about. Some people don't believe that it is in existence. Some people don't believe that. And until you make them to understand that we are serious, they will not believe it. So these people who have impounded their vehicles, we will auction it by tomorrow. And then those of them too who have been arrested, they will face the wrath of the law. There's nobody that's above the law. We will not accept anybody.
In the course of monitoring the level of compliance, Governor Wike arrested several violators and impounded cars. Governor Wike also arrested some very important persons who were not on essential duties but were moving around with their police escorts. But he allowed a pregnant woman who violated the lockdown order on compassionate grounds.
You should know that the lockdown.
At the Lekahia Isolation Center, over 200 persons have been arrested and over 200 vehicles impounded by different teams enforcing the lockdown. They are to face the full weight of the law.
Of course, they'll be tried by the court, and I've told the Attorney General all the vehicles were impounded must be auctioned. But tomorrow the Attorney General will advertise those vehicles and we will auction them. Because we are talking about life. We're not talking about people who do not understand what this war is all about. Some people don't believe that it is in existence. Some people don't believe that. And until you make them to understand that we are serious, they will not believe it. So these people who have impounded their vehicles, we will auction it by tomorrow. And then those of them too who have been arrested, they will face the wrath of the law. There's nobody that's above the law. We will not accept anybody.
In the course of monitoring the level of compliance, Governor Wike arrested several violators and impounded cars. Governor Wike also arrested some very important persons who were not on essential duties but were moving around with their police escorts. But he allowed a pregnant woman who violated the lockdown order on compassionate grounds.
You should know that the lockdown.
At the Lekahia Isolation Center, over 200 persons have been arrested and over 200 vehicles impounded by different teams enforcing the lockdown. They are to face the full weight of the law.
Of course, they'll be tried by the court, and I've told the Attorney General all the vehicles were impounded must be auctioned. But tomorrow the Attorney General will advertise those vehicles and we will auction them. Because we are talking about life. We're not talking about people who do not understand what this war is all about. Some people don't believe that it is in existence. Some people don't believe that. And until you make them to understand that we are serious, they will not believe it. So these people who have impounded their vehicles, we will auction it by tomorrow. And you're a staff of where? So why would you be moving on the road? You didn't know that what?
That here was locked down.
You didn't know that here was locked down. What about you? Okay. Tell me what? When you know that there's a lockdown here, take them. Immediately take them to the quarantine center. You're a staff of where? So why would you be moving on the road? You didn't know that what?
That here was locked down.
You didn't know that here was locked down. What about you? Okay. Tell me what? When you know that there's a lockdown here, take them.
All right, a very good evening to you. Welcome to Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Bartels, and it's great to be back on the hot seat. Apologies, we had to, dot some I's and cross some T's, and we kept you all waiting for quite some time. Do realize, looking at the analytics, that those who watch the live streams don't like it when they turn on the live stream. Nothing is going on. So I know that for a fact. So we apologize for that. I'd like to thank you very much for your patience and for your time. We have a guest on the program this evening, and I'd like to welcome our very own a young man of River State who's been doing great work to ensure that human rights, environmental rights issues are placed on the front burner in River State. He is the Executive Director, Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. It's not just a River State thing, it's a global thing. And let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Fyneface Dumnamene Fyneface. All right, great. Thanks for joining us, Fyneface. Yeah. All right.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thanks for being our guest today. So for those of you who are watching online, we want to say a special good evening to you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for always being there. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your encouragement. Thanks for the kind words that you've shared with me. Telling me what you think about what we're doing. So, lockdown, Port Harcourt lockdown, River State lockdown, day 2. How has it been for you? Fyneface, how has it exactly been for you? Before we go to our guests who are watching us and who are commenting from Facebook and YouTube. Fyneface, how has it been for you today? 2 days so far.
Yeah, 2 days so far, it hasn't been very easy, but those of us who understood what is happening and we could follow up with the government, we could follow up with issues, we could link up with the people within the communities, we get to know how it is and how the lockdown is going. Mm-hmm. But for very many people who have not been very much sensitized on this lockdown, are not finding it very easy. Mm-hmm. And but generally, be you who you are, everybody is affected by the lockdown as a result of the coronavirus, fights and in River State and Nigeria and the world over. So the stay at home has really been biting, I must say. No matter who you are, one way or the other, we are all getting and having some prices that we are all paying as a result of the lockdown. So it's never been very, very easy. But generally, hunger is in the land because a lot of people who depend on daily income to feed are really finding it very, very difficult. Mm-hmm. Those of us who are at the level that we are now, who attest to the fact that a lot of calls are coming, people want money, people want food items, people call you to assist them, and it has never really been easy with people down there. The masses.
It's never been easy with the masses. I can tell. Of course, all of us are in Port Harcourt and we see what's happening in the city. All right. So his name is Fyneface D. Fyneface. My name is Kofi Bartels, and this is a late night talk. River State government is expected to auction cars confiscated for flouting the lockdown order. That's the first thing we're going to be talking about today. Secondly, a pharmacist arrested by policemen who are from the Ozuoba Police Division will join us to recount this ordeal. When we look at what's going on around, health is very important, and you look at the essential services that the federal government and the presidential task force, even all over the world, they agree that those who work in the health sector are part of the essential services. The policemen came to his pharmacy, and they arrested him, and they threw him in a cell. He'll be telling us what happened. We also have somebody who'll be joining us today who called NCDC or knows someone who called NCDC, one of the two, to come and pick someone who had died. And they suspected this person died from coronavirus, a young man. And it's a sad story. Hearts go out to his family. And they say that the NCDC could not come. They said they didn't have an ambulance, to come pick up the corpse, which is shocking. We'll talk to him as well. But Fyneface, let's you might not see it, but I will clear your indulgence, so please hold on while we go back to this video of the governor threatening those who flout would be flouters of the lockdown order, that their cars would be auctioned. Let's listen to this.
Of course, they will be tried by the court, and I've told the Attorney General all the vehicles were impounded must be auctioned. But tomorrow the Attorney General will advertise those vehicles and we will auction them, because we are talking about life. We're not talking about people who do not understand what this world is all about. Some people don't believe that it is in existence. Some people don't believe that. And until you make them to understand that we are serious, they will not believe it. So these people who have impounded their vehicles, we will auction it by tomorrow. And then those of them who have been arrested, they will face the wrath of the law. There's nobody that's above the law. We will not accept anybody.
In the course of monitoring the level of compliance, Governor Wike arrested several violators and impounded cars. Governor Wike also arrested some very important persons who were not on essential duties but were moving around with their police escorts. But he allowed a pregnant woman who violated the lockdown order on compassionate grounds.
You should know that the lockdown.
At the Lekahia Isolation Center, over 200 persons have been arrested and over 200 vehicles impounded by different teams enforcing the lockdown. They are to face the full...
All right, so that's His Excellency the Governor of River State, the hands-on Governor of River State, Governor Nyesom Wike, on duty to ensure that those who are flouting the lockdown order are arrested, and they're arrested. From the report you heard, over 200 persons. Over 200 persons. So, Fyneface, what do you think about this threat to sell the cars that the governor or the government or those who were arrested own, and to sell them off, auction them off, and even advertise them in the newspapers? What do you think about that?
Well, I remember that in the lockdown order, read out by the governor of the state, he did say that, he was going to auction any car that is confiscated, and he gave it as part of his lockdown order. And along the line, certain persons actually violated the rules, and he got those vehicles confiscated. And from what we heard, in day one, being May 7th, the governor said 20 cars, 20 vehicles were impounded in Rivers State. Shortly afterwards, we heard about the confiscation of about 2 more trailers in Rumibo area of Port Harcourt, making it a total of 22 vehicles that the governor and the task force confiscated on day one of the lockdown. And by the broadcast of the governor this evening, the governor listed and mentioned just 4 vehicles that he is going to auction. So what happened to 18 others? Is it that the companies that own those cars have contacted him and he has decided to pardon those people? Or is it that the people that own those cars are above the law? Or is it that people that own those cars have made him not to be able to auction the car anymore, or certain persons called him and he was able to free those vehicles? Or the people that he has their own trailers or vehicles for auctioning are because they don't have people in society that will talk to the governor not to auction their vehicle. If the governor is saying that people should obey his rules and orders, if he is saying that what he has said under Executive Order 006 stands, then he should put all 22 vehicles confiscated on day one on sale and auctioning. There should be no sacred cow in the fight against COVID-19. There should be nobody to be spared if the governor is not sparing anybody and setting people free. So for him to just put out 4 vehicles for auctioning out of 22 vehicles that he mentioned to have been confiscated and impounded, then something fishy is happening. So let the governor tell us what has happened to 18 other vehicles that he is not mentioning and never contained in his address. What has happened to those vehicles? We need to know as Rivers people, so that we know whether the fight against COVID-19 is holistic or not.
Okay, Fyneface. This is quite interesting. I didn't know you're an excellent mathematician. While the rest of us may not have been thinking about that, you were doing the maths. So maybe these days I can say you listen to the governor, His Excellency the governor, when he's giving his speech, you have a calculator in your hand. So you're saying that from what you've counted so far, not less than how many cars have been confiscated or have been detained? How many?
Twenty-two.
And
22,
so far, so 22 minus 4, right?
And this is from the figure release. Yeah, so we have 18.
Mm-hmm.
So 18 vehicles are missing on the list of the vehicles to be auctioned by the Rivers State government. Who are those people that own those other 18 vehicles that are now being set free? And why are those other 18 vehicles not being auctioned? And if 18 other vehicles are not being auctioned, then 4 vehicles that he has put for auctioning should not be auctioned. Either all the 22 vehicles are auctioned or all 22 vehicles are set free.
Interesting. From the video we played, I heard the reporter say something like 200 vehicles. I don't know where that came from. I didn't say 200 persons and 200 vehicles, but we'll go with the official figure. Let's welcome our online audience who are watching us on Facebook and YouTube Live. Would like to apologize for the quality of the stream if you are not seeing the clear pictures where you are. We hope to get that sorted out. But I can see that we have quite a number of people already watching. And please, Also, do well to share this post wherever you are. On your Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, please share. Share to your Facebook so that your friends can see and they can watch what we're doing as well. It's your way of supporting what we're doing and also giving other people a chance to be entertained and informed whilst they're at home. We have some messages coming in here. We're asking how the lockdown is going for you the second day. And of course, we said that, okay, today River State government was expected to start the auctioning of the cars. My guest, Fyneface, has informed or reminded us that apart from the 4 cars that His Excellency the Governor mentioned, there are 18 others from his own calculation and by the accounts that we've gotten from the government that were yet to be announced. Fyneface, do you have the names of these cars, the brands? Some people are looking for cars to buy. Do you have them written down somewhere?
The ones the governor wants to auction?
Yes.
Yeah, the governor actually put forward those, 4 vehicles in his speech this evening. And he even gave their numbers, those vehicles that he wants to auction. And one will expect that the list of other, all other vehicles that were confiscated, like the governor put it yesterday, are also, kind of put out. But surprisingly, what we have is just that of 4. And that is where I'm worried, because I would want the governor to go ahead and auction all the vehicles he confiscated, or tell us what has happened to the other 18 that he is not putting on sale. And if those other 18 belong to people that he cannot auction their vehicle, then the law is not applying to all citizens the way it ought to be. So for that reason, I will say that the governor should please free all other vehicles, or simply put, auction all the vehicles confiscated.
Okay, we have messages coming through. Ikechukwu Hakwe, thank you very much for your message. Shekina Glory, thank you for your message. He says, or she says, it's not funny at all. I feel for people. Amakri Danagogo, thank you very much. Okadika, he innocent. Good evening to you. He says, glad to have you on air tonight. Thank you very much. Bambi says, I don't tire or my food don't finish. I'm eating the last food in the house. Tomorrow, person go die. We can come to my rescue because, or you won't die. God forbid. But thank you very much for your message, and we feel for you. I hope it doesn't get to that point. Humphrey Kemp says, hi, I miss you on air. Stay safe. Well, I'm on air here. So let's hook up. Thank you, Humphrey. I appreciate your message. We have Fyneface. Could you please lower the volume where you are? Because we're having a feedback. Okay. We have Oyinge Justice. Good evening to you. Humphrey Kemp says, God has been faithful. Let there be improved power supplies. It will make the stay at home less boring. Power Bay Gershon says, I want to speak on the order by the governor that the vehicle seized from those who flouted the lockdown order as an usurpation of the powers of the court. It's only a court of competent jurisdiction that can make such order or orders from Igbo. Okay, thank you very much. Fyneface, what do you say to this view? Because I've seen it on Twitter, all over Twitter, that only a court can order such confiscated cars to be auctioned. Someone put something on Twitter saying, you have not taken the person to court, but you're already given the verdict. In your opinion, do you think that that is a fair assessment or view? That you can't.
Yeah, they may not be far from the truth. They may not be far from the truth, because the governor said we have in place, the Mumbai courts that is trying people, and as
Hello, Fyneface, are you there?
Well, I believe that it's in place that way. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, please go on. Yes, please go on.
Yeah, so it has to be, the court that will make pronouncements, a kind of, if those people are found guilty of the offense for which they have been arrested, then they could be convicted, and their vehicles also, they also make them to forfeit their vehicle to the state, and then the state can now decide to auction the vehicle. But what we have now is that a lot of them are criminalized before even being subjected to trials, by the governor. And those things amount to the violation of the fundamental human rights of the people. Because what we have here is a situation whereby the people are not given opportunity to defend themselves. They are not given opportunity to tell their own side of the story, and they are just subjected to being given a situation whereby you have a kind of job to mob relationship. The governor speaks what he feels they have done, and that becomes the situation and direction that their trial should go. So it's a problem, and I think the governor should, if people are arrested for violating the orders, the governor should not conclude the process or preempt the trial process, but subject them to trial and then allow the courts to decide their fate. And then whatever the court has decided should now be used by the governor as the basis for which he speaks to the public.
So, Fyneface, so you are therefore suggesting that His Excellency the Governor of Rivers State does not have the powers to confiscate an auction of vehicles? Are you sure he doesn't have that? If that was in, are you sure there's nothing like that in the executive orders somewhere? Somewhere in the executive orders.
Yeah, it could be in the executive order. The content of the executive order wasn't made public, but the governor is saying that whatever powers he is exercising is.
Hello, Fyneface, are you there? Hello, Fyneface, are you there? Okay, we would like to apologize for that break in the audio flow from Fyneface. I'm sure it's due to a network issue from his part. But we will listen to His Excellency the Governor. Fyneface, can you hear me, please? Okay, so let's listen to this and then we'll be back. Okay, Fyneface, can you hear me? Okay, we would have to get back to Fyneface and, of course, see if we can get the better connection. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. And then we'll also read more of your comments as well. Well, while we're trying to get back to Fyneface, I can see more messages coming through. Humphrey Kemp says, God has been faithful. Let there be improved power supply as it will make the stay at home less boring. Porobe Gershon says, Mr. Kofi, I wanted to speak on the order by the governor. Okay, I read this already. That the vehicles seized from those who flouted the lockdown order as an usurpation of the powers of the court. It is only a court of competent jurisdiction that can make such orders or order. He's listening in Igbo. Thank you very much. Chris Ezogu says, please, the governor should relax this lockdown. Oyinge Justice says, in my place, EPA shared food to themselves, not to poor families. All right. Emmanuel Gbudu says, God will help us for this lockdown. No light, no money, no food. Lockdown without carrying any test. Deputy CP giving exception notes for people. That is okay. You want to auction the cars? Is this a way to fight COVID-19? He says. Okay, I think I understand where it's coming from. Fyneface, are you back with us, please? Okay, we have another one. Loretta Toye, good evening. Juliet Ogechi says, please tell the governor to help us relax the lockdown a little. Nene Hospital says, it's horrible. My child just told me he's stooling 4 times. Fear catch me, I quickly gave him red and yellow capsule, Flagyl. I pray it stops. Oh, my. Okay, Fyneface, we would like to, while you're there, speak to the pharmacist who was arrested today by policemen from Ozuoba. His name is Dr. Nwidu. You might know him. I think he's from the University of Port Harcourt, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll try and get across to him so that he can tell us what. Hello, Dr. Nwidu, are you there?
Yes, I'm there on the line.
Okay, Fyneface, can you hear him?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear him loud and clear.
Okay, Dr. Nwidu, thanks for joining us. You are of the University of Port Harcourt, am I correct, sir?
Yes, I'm a senior lecturer at University of Port Harcourt.
Okay, Dr. Nwidu is a senior lecturer of the University of Port Harcourt, and you are a pharmacist.
Yes, I'm a pharmacist. I'm a director of law firm pharmacy.
Okay. Where is the pharmacy located, sir?
The pharmacy is located on 93 Haruk Road, former Haruk Road, now Owoloma Road.
Okay. Okay. So please tell us what happened today.
Today, exactly about 9 a.m. in the morning, my staff, pharmacists, the nurses were on duty, and I was in my house because the pharmacy happened to be in the front of my house. So I had a noise, the dog, and it looked as if armed robbers infiltrated the compound, and I was called. Even I was afraid of my life that I came in. When I came into the pharmacy, I found out that there are two armed policemen and another police lady that was in mufti.
Mm-hmm.
So they were harassing the nurses. They should enter the vehicle that was parked outside. Why do they open to take care of patients?
Mm-hmm.
So I came in and I said there are a lot of patients that want treatment and those that have to refill their prescription. So I authorized them to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
The patients, the nurses must follow them and enter their vehicle, the pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
I said no, I authorized the opening of the pharmacy. Instead of arresting the three of them, let me join them. So I was taken to Ozuoba Police Station. I was detained from 9 a.m. to about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And I pleaded with them to give me my phone. And I have to reach my lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And my lawyer came in. And the lawyer, they said they are not going to attend to the lawyer. And all that the lawyer was telling them and say, this is a very good person. He knows this person for over time. He's a senior lecturer. Mm-hmm. That they should release me on bail. He said no, that I have to pay money. And from 2 p.m. in the afternoon to about 4:30, so my family has to raise 20,000 naira, which the police demanded, and that is how I was released after the payment of 20,000 naira.
Your family had to raise 20,000 naira before you were released.
20,000 naira. Yes, before I was released. And I showed them the authorization from the Ministry of Health that pharmacists are on essential duty. They said that they don't recognize any authorization from Ministry of Health. The governor of Rivers State asked them that there should be total lockdown. So no pharmaceutical premises should be open in Rimri, where is the area of their jurisdiction. And even when they were taking me to sell in the morning, those women that were coming to the pharmacy to buy drugs, one of them was suffering from serious diarrhea. They took them into the vehicle also, and they took them to the police station. And I was pleading with them that this ought not to be, that these people are sick, and even though they are, COVID-19 is not around, we don't allow them to die because of other disease or infirmity, that they need to take care of themselves. I was shut up and asked that I'm not their judge. So this was what I passed through today, and it was so painful that in a country like this, pharmacists are not recognized. Lawyers also that even are doing their work are not even recognized by the police. Everybody is just treated like commoner. But I feel very pain being part of this nation. I feel very pain being part of Rivers State where this type of thing is going on.
Dr. Widu, so all this happened today?
Yes, all this thing happens today.
They came to your office, your pharmacy, and then they arrested you?
Yes, they arrested me, took me to their police van. And the inspector that took me from the place is Inspector Buki from Ozuoba Police Station, and the DPO, the divisional police officer there, Mr. Ogoke, who happens to be a lawyer, even was saying that nobody can do anything, that they are giving them the authority to make sure that every business premises are sealed up. And I don't have the right as a pharmacist to open to take care of anybody. That everybody has to stay in their houses.
So you were there between 8 p.m. and what time?
No, I was there at 9 a.m. in the morning. It was 9 a.m. They called me. I was not in the pharmacy. They called me in the pharmacy that was going on. So I now ran into the pharmacy because the pharmacy is in front of where I reside. Okay.
So 9 a.m. to what time, please?
9 a.m. to 4:30 when I was released. It was 4:30 in the evening.
They kept you.
Water.
Yes. Go on, please.
They kept me in a cell, and the cell, they took away my face mask from me, removed my trouser, removed my clothes, just put me in a cell. When the DPO came to the cell, he knows me very well because I'm in charge of security in the area, and I have been relating with him. So he knows me quite all right, and he didn't want to talk with me. So So what he came, he counted the number of people that were in the cell, were 19 of us. They can continue bringing in people into that cell, 12 by 12 cells, and we're up to 39 in that cell. And my face mask was removed, and every one of us were just crowded there. But one of the worst things that happened to me today, I don't really understand. If we're talking about COVID-19, why would you want to remove, why don't you want people to come into the cell with face masks? And looking at the crowd of people that are there, no social distancing, 39 people in a 12 by 12 cell.
This is really appalling. For those of you who are watching us live online and listening to Dr. Nwidu, he is a senior lecturer in the University of Port Harcourt, and a lot of people know him. He is also a pharmacist with many years' experience. He has a pharmacy. Nigerians who are not well came to his pharmacy to buy medication. The nurses there were attending to some of them, and the policemen from Ozuoba Police Station in River State arrested Dr. Nwidu, an academician and also a health worker, and took him to the police station, saying that the governor of River State had ordered that all business premises be closed. He says that he presented a paper from the federal government to the policeman to show that he, as a health worker, is on essential duty, has an essential service to offer to Nigerians, and is permitted to work. They refused, and they took him to the police station, detained him from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, you're correct.
And they took his face mask from him, and they took his clothes away from him, and threw him into a 12 foot by 12 foot cell. In there, they kept bringing people in, and at a point, there were 39 of them in that 12 by 12 cell. This is in the fight against coronavirus. And at the end of the day, he has to call his family to bring 20,000 naira to bail him from the police station so he can go home. This is a River State we're talking about. Sir, how did they collect the money, doctor?
Well, it was my lawyer came in, presented himself, and said he's coming to bail me. There's going to if there's any bail form that's going to sign. So the lawyer came and pleaded with them. They refused to give him. They refused to attend to him. He tried to reach out to the DPO. The DPO didn't give him any attention. Mm-hmm. And even when he was told that the DPO is a lawyer, he introduced himself and said to his colleague and his betrayer that he has the client here, and introduced himself to the DPO. The DPO did not attend to him and referred him to the IPO who was in charge of the case, Inspector Kofi. So Kofi said, except we'll pay 20,000 naira, there's no way I was going to be released. So my lawyer have to go round, met my family people, and raise the money. And that money was paid about 4:30 when I was released from the police station. Even at the point of they were handing over my trousers, my clothes, they still asked me to pay another 2,000 naira for upkeep for the person that was keeping custody of my clothing.
Another 2,000 naira for upkeep for the person who was keeping.
I told her I don't have any other money on me. So the lady reluctantly released those things and said that it's just doing free job.
Wow. So the person who kept your clothes needed upkeep money. Sir, what paper was it that you had that you presented to them, showed to them? What kind of paper was this, please?
Well, there's an authorization from the Ministry of Health authorizing all health staff, and that letter was issued on the 30th of April and was minuted to our station, River State Pharmacist Association, and the Chiana has to issue that copy of the letter to every registered pharmacist in River State. And that was the authorization we have. And the authorization was from the government of River State, from the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health. And that letter was issued on the 30th of April.
It's really unfortunate, really unfortunate. What are your thoughts on what they said that the governor, even though you had this paper from your body, which is a nationally recognized body by the federal government and by law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what do you say about the response or the reply from the police that the governor of River State had given them an express order that every single shop be shut down?
Well, it's quite unfortunate, Mr. Kofi. It's quite unfortunate because I know in other clans, other health jurisdictions, where enforcement are made on COVID-19, you find out that exceptions are always given to people on essential duties. And not only that, even arrangements are also made for medication to be delivered to people that have chronic ailments and all that. So for them to come in and treat me as a commoner, treat me as somebody that doesn't even know it's left or right in the society, I think they are much more concerned about those people that are not even let out, or other people that were arrested that don't even know their rights. They are much more concerned in this country about those people of whom their human rights are being abused on a daily basis.
All right, sir. We want to sympathize with you. Based on what you've gone through, it is Fyneface. Do you have something to add to say to our guest who is on the line? Maybe say about what he. Yes, please go on, Dr. Widow, please.
What I want to really advise that that periodically there should be a way where the Commissioner of Police should set up a monitoring team to monitor each of these police stations, divisional police stations. They should monitor them to try to, try to look at the human rights abuses that is going on in various stations. We're talking about COVID-19. Why would you pass up to 39 persons into cells or 12 by 12 cells?
Yes.
That is inhuman. That is humanization. And it's a way of trying to ensure that before every person leaves that cell, that if there is only one person that's infected with COVID, other persons negative from that cell. And what is the essence of what we're talking about, the shutdown act to prevent COVID-19? When you're taking people into your cells and you're ensuring the transmission of this thing in the cells, like crowding people, there are no social distance. So what I want to see is that the governor to try and look at this shutdown, look at it, because the way the police people are being enriched, you understand? Because the crowd in those police stations, if you don't pay that 20,000 naira, nobody look at your face. And the number of people that are also there in the cells are so much. So the Commissioner of Police should set up monitoring teams that will visit all these divisional police stations that feel that they are alpha and omega. They should be called to order. Because I don't think that in fair daylight, this type of humanization, inhuman treatment, go on and nobody is taking them, and they are doing it blatantly. They are doing it blatantly, collecting money. Even in the cell, when I was there, there was if you want to bail out yourself and you want to transfer money, you transfer money to the account before they release you out of the cell.
Oh, you transfer to the account of the police?
Yeah, some people that have their phone and all that, they make arrangement to bring their phone to them and they transfer money to them.
Sorry, sir. I want to get you right. You are saying that the police have an account where you transfer the money to?
Yes, the people in the cell, they have somebody in the cell that they make the arrangement for them. When you come into the cell, they ask you whether you have money to pay yourself. Then we call them, you provide the account, and they release you out of the cell. They give you your phone.
Someone inside the cell?
No, they take you out of the cell and you go outside, transfer the money to their account, and then they release you out of the cell.
Okay, but is this agent in the cell?
Yes, they have an agent in the cell that make that arrangement. When you come in, it looks like a lord in that cell. So the Lord will ask you, because when you come into the cell, you need to give them money. So I have only 200 naira that was on me. I have to give it to them. Not they maltreat you. Those people who have been in the cell for every people who have been there for a longer period of time, they've been maltreated. So those lords that are there in the cell have a relationship with the police. So if you have money that you talk with the police, that is equal to the amount of money that they can release you. So they make the arrangement, call them, call the police, and they take the inmate out. And the inmate does the transfer. And after that, before they are released.
So whose account does the money go to?
The account of the police officer, the police officer that is there.
So which police officer collected? Do you remember his name? The one who collected the money from you today?
Well, the one that collected my money was Inspector Buki. He did not collect it by transfer. He paid cash. Wow, sorry.
Okay. Inspector Buki,
Yes.
a male.
Yes, a female.
A female.
Opemimus. I'm a Sunday school teacher in Omega Power Ministry. And those of us in Omega Power Ministry were identified as bangles. We wear the OPM bangles. So when I saw her with those OPM bangles, I introduced myself. I told her I'm a pastor. Why are you treating humans in this way? This is not what we teach in church. I teach in Sunday school in the church. So and that angered her most. That why must I preach to her?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Inspector Buki
Inspector Buki, that's the name of his name.
is one OPM banger.
Ozuoba Police Station that I'm talking with is written as it.
Oh my God. And she was angry that you were trying to remind her that as an OPM member, she's not supposed to be doing this because this is not what the church preaches.
Yeah.
Dr. Widow, we are sorry for your experience today. I don't know if you'd like to pursue this, but I strongly feel that this shouldn't be the last time we're talking about this, that we should, try and get your money back. Not because it's not something you can't do without, but because you've been wronged. You've been wronged. You're a very nice gentleman.
Well, there are a lot of Nigerians that are also robbed. A lot of them have been robbed. In fact, it's a very big business. This shelter is a very big business for Ozuoba Police Station.
Wow. Oh, really?
It's a very big business. Yes, it's a very big business. Because what they are doing, they are just carrying people into the cells and pay that money to them, and they are very, very mindful about that money that everybody pays. So who wants to pay the money, they will release you out of the cell.
All right, Dr. Widow, we will follow up with you. This is not the last we'll be talking about this. We will follow up with you, of course, to see where this goes, because we can't continue like this. And some people need to be made examples
I always ask my lawyer to try and see how we can fetch that decision in my country. As a pharmacist, as a professional,
yeah.
and I was a long time. I've been a pharmacist for over 18 years of practice. I cannot be treated this way.
Yes.
Now, when I have an authorization from the Ministry of Health to the Pharmacy Council, to the River State Pharmaceutical Society, that we are exempted, and I was treated this way. I've already talked to my lawyer to say I'm ready that decision in Nigeria, because I won't take this right, the abuse of my fundamental human rights.
Yes.
I have taken an oath as a pharmacist to take care of patients, even at all times, even at the time that is not very convenient for me. So, and I was discharging that duty. And the premises was open to discharge that duty to that pharmaceutical care to the patient. Even at this time, where to get help is difficult, and they can come in a commando style, took me out of the place and locked me up, detained me for that period of time, 9 a.m. to 4:30 in the evening. I think that's the worst thing that can happen to a professional. If I was a quack and I was treated that way, maybe I would have just taken it lightly. That as a licensed pharmacist, or the police to come in that brigandage style to dehumanize me, I don't think I will take it lightly. I've already talked with my lawyer. There we can first start.
All right, Dr. Widow, we will follow this up. It's totally wrong what happened to you. We are sorry for your experience, and we just pray that God just heals your heart. And you're such a fantastic person. I'm sure your students will testify to that, and those who come across you. And you're also rendering a public service to those who need medication in these times. And they're telling you that governor says nobody can open. I don't know how that works. But, sir, thank you for reaching out to us, and thank you for sharing your story, because if we don't follow up and make sure something comes out of this, they will keep doing it. Sorry about your experience, sir. Sorry about your experience, sir. Thank you. We stay in touch. Fyneface, thanks for your patience and thanks for staying there. Fyneface, can you hear me, please? Yes. And also to those of you who are watching us from around the world, yes, live on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Thanks for your patience. Fyneface, you've heard what this gentleman said, the doctor. He's a senior lecturer in the University of Port Harcourt. It's annoying. Yesterday we had one and there was a loss of life. And look at this one today. They say they're fighting coronavirus, but look at it. Threw the man in the cell with 39 people, took off his clothes and his face mask, and they asked for 20,000 naira. My brother, the thing weak me, it weak me.
Well, it is actually sad. I listened to his story and it is painful. Now, the issue is this. This is one of a clear case of the abuse and violation of human rights within the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown process. Now, it is on record that those who are in the medical fields should, as a matter of fact, be allowed to operate. Now, in Rumimbo area today, when I stroll out to the front of the area to check how things are going on the field, I saw some pharmacies open. They are working, and people that who work from their house will go there and buy drugs. And I believe the governor also authorized that to happen.
Okay.
So why should the people in Ozuoba treat these pharmacists this way? So what I will advise the pharmacists is that we shouldn't let this matter to die down. I belong to a national network of COVID-19 tracking team in Nigeria. Our work is to monitor and report, document the abuses of human rights within the COVID-19 pandemic process. We also have a team of lawyers that assist people like him whose rights have been violated. But we cannot act if the individuals whose rights are violated do not want to pursue their cases. In this case, I think what the pharmacist would need to do is to file a formal petition through his lawyer to the Commissioner of Police.
Yeah, Fyneface, we can hear you. Hello, Fyneface, are you there, please?
Copy the pharmaceutical.
Okay, we're having some problems with Fyneface's audio. Fyneface, are you there? Okay, yes, we can hear you now. Please go on.
To file an official,
Fyneface, are you there?
Yeah, so what I think the pharmacist should do at this point in time is to pursue the violation of his fundamental human rights. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Can you hear me, please?
Loud and clear, loud and clear. Please go on.
What I think the pharmacist should do is to pursue the violation of his fundamental human rights.
Okay.
Yeah, for his violation to be addressed. And I think
okay, we seem to be having some issues with Fyneface. Wow. Okay.
Of the money he spends in that process, and the Pharmaceutical Association of Nigeria, River State Chapter. Yeah. So can you hear me now, please?
Yeah, loud and clear.
So
yes.
letter to the governor, complaint to the governor, complaint to the Commissioner of Police. Copy we in the civil society, like Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center. Copy us, work with him to get redressed, because what happened to him today is not what we envisage. Okay. And those police people there, I don't know how they think, because the governor have said that the people that are into medical fields should not be treated this way, and they should be allowed because they are on essential duties. So I wonder why he should be treated that way. So he needs to file an official complaint, a letter, petition to the commissioner, the governor.
Hello, Fyneface, are you there? Oh, having some audio dragging there. Okay, Fyneface, out of while we let's just go back to the comments. While we wait for your audio to get back to normal. We have Comrade Inyenigbi Gospel, who is saying, "Good evening, Kofi. My name is Inyenigbi Gospel Jr., law student from the prestigious River State University." Fyneface, are you there, please? Hello, Fyneface. Okay. Oh, great. Okay, so Comedy Inyenigbi Gospel says, good evening, Kofi. My name is Gospel Inyenigbi Jr., a law student from the prestigious River State University, and I wish to comment on the issue of River State government auctioning cars confiscated for flouting the lockdown order. While I must commend the government for the proactive measures taken thus far in attempting to contain the spread of the pandemic, may we not also lose sight of the salient legal issues the option of auctioning confiscated vehicles who flaunt the order may cause. The law is trite the government could auction the defaulting vehicles only on the grounds that there exists a subsisting legislative enactment of valid order from a court of competent jurisdiction. In that regard, from the foregoing, it is clear that there is no such provision, and the government cannot be a prosecutor and a judge in its own case. Therefore, they could only prosecute offenders or, in the alternative, impose fines. Where these are not done, they go ahead to auction the vehicles. The buyers will only succeed in purchasing endless litigations, as one can only purchase what you have title over. This is a position of the law. Gospel Nyegibi Jr. has written like a real serious and intelligent law student who will go places. Gospel, well said. Thank you very much for your time. Fyneface, what do you think about his submission? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. Interesting. So these are the things, legal aspects. You've talked about Fyneface, a court of competent jurisdiction. So you had the governor's speech today. As far as you're concerned, did he pay adequate attention to these concerns of people moving around and being stopped, essential services, persons being harassed? Do you think he made paid adequate attention and answered these questions in a satisfactory manner? Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's at 3 p.m. He said 3 p.m. yesterday. Mm. Mm.
concerns. So I think the governor needs to listen to the people, put the people's interest in what he is doing, and then be able to not criminalize the people before we have the court to look at their matter.
Mm. Okay, because I mean, you've said that you think the governor has adequately addressed this issue of movement, or that if you are a pharmacist, you should be allowed to move. But you can see that today, somebody who was on legitimate duty was arrested. So are you going to put the responsibility for this at the table of the police or the government or both?
I think it's on the part of the police,
Okay.
because the government has given the directive. the government have issued the pharmacist the letter telling him.
This was the federal government. Federal government.
Yes, the federal government of Nigeria, whatever rules given by the federal government of Nigeria.
But I'm talking about the state government's governor's statement where he said nobody should move around except they have paper. Number 2, he said no market or shop should be opened. Any market or any shop that opens, the entire building will be brought down. If you remember.
Yeah, I remember how he said those
and
things.
And that's what they are relying on to arrest this pharmacist.
No, then I think the police is not reading the statement of the governor. The governor have given at least 7, 5, 8 statements and speeches ever since we started the fight against COVID-19 in the state. And those within the medical fields are given exemption because they are on essential duties. The governor also made pronouncement that the people that are moving medicals should be allowed. So these pharmacists belong to those category of people. And as a result of that, I have mentioned on this program that I saw a pharmacy today within the Rumibo area open its shop, and people were walking in to buy drugs because they are on essential duties. So if the police is going to arrest people because the governor said all shops should close, and they are arresting pharmacists that open their pharmacy, and they want to say to the people, then they are not representing the governor properly. That is why I'm advising this pharmacist to file an official complaint to the governor of the state, to the commissioner of the state of police, that his right has been violated in this process. And let's begin to pursue this matter from there. Because this is not a matter to be swept under the carpet. Other pharmacists open in Port Harcourt today. Why should he be treated differently? The man opened his shop so that people can buy drugs, and also because he was given a paper telling him that you can open because you are on an essential duty, and the man decided to open the shop. If this is not addressed, it means that tomorrow the man may not decide to open the shop anymore, and those who may want to buy from him to stay alive will not have that opportunity. So I think the man should file an official complaint and go ahead to open the shop again tomorrow. He shouldn't leave the shop closed because he has authorization to open the shop. And let us pursue this matter and get him an official apology and the refund of his money, and above all, to make sure that things like this are not meted out on other citizens in the state. And I also expect an official statement from the Rivers State chapter of Nigerian Society of Pharmacists, or whatever they call them. They need to give an official statement tomorrow that their members are being harassed in Rivers State after they were given permit to open their pharmacies so that they can sell shops to the people. They should release a statement to this effect tomorrow. And then let's follow it up from there, because we cannot fight COVID-19 and people continue to die. I also heard you say in this program about a baby that got sick and they are trying to get drug for the baby. Any baby that got sick to that extent, I believe that we can call the center, we can call NGOs. We are ready to put ourselves on the line to save the lives of people. I, for one, if any child is sick, if there is any issue about any pregnant woman or anybody that is in a critical condition, even if I do not have permit to move, and that person is at the point of death, we can move that person from wherever that person is to the hospital.
All right.
Let them put us on the road, and we can see how to treat that issue.
Okay, Fyneface, hold your thoughts. We want to get across to our next respondent, who will tell us his experience with NCDC in Rivers State in Port Harcourt, and you'll be shocked at what he has to say. Fyneface, so please stay with us. And to our audience watching live on Facebook, watching live on YouTube, it's still Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Bartels, and my guest is Fyneface, D. Fyneface. We will be right back in a few seconds. right, welcome back. It's still Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Bartels. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, streaming around the world. And, of course, my guest is an advocate for environmental rights and, of course, youth rights as well. And he is Executive Director, Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, Fyneface Dumnamene Fyneface. Now, I have a gentleman on the line. He has chosen to remain anonymous, but he has a story to tell. And it's a very sad one because he shared it with me earlier today, and I was really worried. So I'd like to say good evening to Mr. C, and that's what we'll call him. Mr. C, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Kofi.
Yes. Thanks for joining us. I know it's quite late, but thank you very much. You placed a call through to the NCDC, the National Center for Disease Control, earlier today or yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Please tell us about the episode.
All right. At about 1:08 a.m. last night, or rather early hours of this morning, I got a call from a lady somewhere around Eliozu, telling me that her younger brother apparently just passed on. And then I asked what happened. Then she started explaining that on Tuesday,
1 minute remaining.
Okay, we'll have to call him back. Apologies for that. It's a bit of a network issue. But Fyneface,
Yes.
the bottom line is that they had difficulties with NCDC, responding very quickly to this situation. Okay, he's calling back. Let me see if that's him. Hello. Good evening.
yeah, hello, Kofi.
Yeah, is this Collins?
Yeah, this is Colin.
Okay, sorry, I was about to call you back. Apologies. Okay, please go on.
All right. She said that her younger brother came in on Tuesday evening, not feeling too fine, feeling feverish, and was having body aches. And so he went by himself to a pharmacy around Eliozu and got drugs and came back home and took them. So she and her 3 sons decided to assist the younger brother by taking care of him, by, trying to get him food and whatever he probably would need. But apparently the case didn't, his health conditions didn't improve, and early hours of this morning, he gave up the ghost. So she called crying, and I said, okay, you can't go out this night, because if you take the body to any hospital with this explanation you've told me, it's a suspected case of COVID-19. They just will not accept it. And if you take it to a mortuary too, they will not accept it if they don't see a doctor's report. So your best bet is for us to call the NCDC. So I made a call through to a doctor friend of mine I knew, who helped me that night to reach out to NCDC, and they gave me their contacts. And we called them and explained all that had happened. And they promised that they were going to come in the morning. That was at about 5 a.m.
Okay. So you called NCDC?
Yes, we did. Okay. We did. We explained to them what had happened, and so they advised that we should hold on, that they were going to come and pick the body, the late corpse, okay? Now, we waited from 5 a.m. this morning, and we kept calling almost every 30 minutes, not until about 12 noon. These guys were, in fact, at a point, they stopped picking our calls. So at that point, the lady called me back to explain her frustration, and she kept crying. So I told her not to worry, that I was going to find a way around it. So that's when I tried to reach you to see if a radio station could take this up. But you were busy, or you were on the call. So I decided to call their director, because I got their number through a doctor. I called the director, who happens to be a senior medical director. I don't want to call his name. Who then told me and confirmed that he had gotten wind of the situation and he has been briefed. However, that they had an earlier operation planned this morning to go after some people that were confirmed positive, to go get them to the isolation center. And that these people had resisted, going with NCDC to the isolation center, so they had to go mobilize the army and all that before they were able to get them through. However, that their greatest challenge now is they do not have ambulance that can go evacuate that child. I was shocked. I was like, you don't have ambulance? He said no, because even those people operating private ambulance services are all at home. They cannot even move. I was shocked. And at the moment, they are trying to get an ambulance to see how they can come to the woman's place to come get the dead corpse. So, this continued till after another 2 hours. I then called and threatened him. I said, see, I'm going to call the governor and I'm going to tell him what is happening. It was at that point he started lamenting of how they don't give them what they are supposed to give to them, that they are just trying to push all this by themselves, that they lack equipment, they lack this, they lack that, He commented and was lamenting so much. And thereafter, he promised me that within an hour, he was going to get there. And true to his word this time, at about 5 this evening, they finally got there to go pick up the corpse. Even as I speak to you, and not quite long, the lady just left the mortuary now because apparently they took her to UPTH with the dead body, and I don't know what they've done. I'm going to get a brief from her much later and hope that they will also isolate her and the children, depending on whatever they discover would have been the case. But I called to make this complaint because it is shocking to know that a lot of people out there may be going through the same issue and no way for you to get help from NCDC. You keep calling, sometimes they take your number, sometimes they don't take your calls, they claim to be busy, they are understaffed, according to what he explained to me today. They don't even have enough manpower to run their affairs. So the question then is, if the idea of you of the governor putting a lockdown in the states with the hope for them to do contact tracing, and you don't even have the manpower to do it, what then is the wisdom behind this lockdown? If they are not funding this process to ensure that the people of Rivers are safe, what then is the wisdom behind the lockdown? What then is the wisdom behind all the shouting? What then is the wisdom behind all the threats? I don't see it. Because you ought to fund, right now as I speak to you, Edo State is the second most equipped state after Lagos as regarding COVID-19. They have isolation centers scattered all around the state. They have a whole lot of testing units all around the state. The government purchased a lot of testing kits for the states. And the rising number you see in Edo State, the governor told them is because we are doing more testing than others. Rivers State need to wake up and begin to do more testing. People don't understand what is happening. And honestly, those in charge are not even helping us in any way. If somebody can contact this team from Tuesday night and pass on Thursday, barely 48 hours, then I can tell you that the virus probably, if it's confirmed to be true, is totally going haywire in the States. And that is my concern.
But we pride ourselves. In having one of amongst the top states in Nigeria, the big popular states in Nigeria, in having a relatively low number of confirmed cases.
The gospel truth about Rivers State having a low number of confirmed cases is because they are not doing testing. Enough testing in Rivers State. That is the truth. And they confirmed that to me today, that they don't even have enough test kits. That is the truth. I don't want to call names so that nobody will be in trouble. But that is the truth.
Mr. C, the lady in question and then her kids, because this is a younger brother. You said she's about 50 years old. She has children. Where are they right now?
Well, as of the last time, she had actually followed NCDC with the cops to UBTH. From there, the last time I spoke to her, she was at the mortuary when they were supposed to deposit the cops. I was going to speak to her as soon as she gets back home, because I know the whole day she's really, really tired. I wanted her to, at least take her bath and probably eat something and rest. More so because she's also grieving. But the children have been at home. The three boys, they should be within the ages of 20 to about 15. Thereabouts, that's their age range. They have been at home. And she said that they gave her some guidelines, but she was going to explain it to me when she leaves there. So I'm waiting to hear what they told her to do and how to, disinfect her home and all that for the time being. I've not gotten those details. I'm going to call her shortly. I just wanted her to rest. When I get those full details, I still will let you know.
So they're just at home, with whoever they are with at home. This I'm really concerned about and I know you are too, for the health of this woman, the people who helped, take care of them, whoever they were, and the children. I mean, shouldn't they be, in your opinion, right now, somewhere receiving attention?
Honestly, in my own opinion, I felt that the NCDC should have at least carried the children and the mother to go test. However, I believe that they are probably following procedures. And one of the procedures would be for them to test the dead corpse to confirm that it was actually COVID-19 before they would take such steps, is what I believe. But the question is, how proactive are they? Because if you look at this case, when I probed further into this matter, I was told by the lady that at about that 1 a.m. this morning when she called me, she said that the body of the guy has already started getting swollen. And as at this early hours of this morning at daybreak, she said that mucor and what have you is coming out of his nose and eyes and ears. I had to take my time to go search the internet to find out what the procedure is, which I think you should also do. And I asked the internet, Google, how long does it take for a dead corpse to start getting swollen? And the internet says it takes between 48 to 72 hours for the internal organs to decompose, then between 4 to 5 days for this corpse to start getting swollen. So the question is, how can somebody die maybe at about 11 p.m. and by 1, barely 2 hours after, you are getting swollen? It tells me that something was wrong somewhere. And that is where my suspicion comes from. And I also expressed this to a doctor friend who told me in confidence that one of the index cases is in Okrika, and that Okrika is in a hot spot. And my question is, why is the government or NCDC not coming out to say, this area, let people be more careful? Because this young boy was just a young man who was trying to get married, and, he just got a job, and he was doing it religiously. And you just die like that? I was asking, does he have any ailment? He was a strong man. No ailment of any kind. From Delta State, a strong man.
And so these they were in Okrika.
Yes, that's where he works. He works in Okrika.
Okay, but stays in Port Harcourt.
Yes, but stays in Port Harcourt.
Mr. C, did the sister, the elder sister who reached out to you, did she say he exhibited certain signs or symptoms that may somehow give an idea of what was wrong with him?
Yes. First of all, he was running temperature.
Yeah.
He lost appetite. He wasn't eating. In fact, before they knew he was dead, they kept worrying him from at about 6 in the evening to eat, and he refused to eat. At a point, they said he left the bed and laid on the ground to say he wants to lie down on the ground. And later went back, he was restless. Are you seeing it? By the time they went back at about 10 past 10, thereabout, to say, you try and wake up and eat something, and they discovered the guy was not waking up anymore. Now, I'm looking at the speed, the rate at which this is happening. If you look at this whole event, barely 48 hours, barely 3 hours to this whole issues, the person dies, and it's telling me that something was really, really, really wrong. Although she has her faults, because they should have taken him to the hospital when they noticed these issues. Okay? But then, a lot of people are even scared of going to the hospitals now. Everybody wants to self-medicate, which is wrong. Now, if the guy probably knew that Okrika was a hotspot, most likely he would have protected himself more. A lot of us don't even know where these issues are. We keep hearing figures every day. We have so and so number of cases. We have so and so number of cases. And you don't even know where. So how do you help NCDC? How do you help them?
Yeah.
If I know that Mr. Okoro, who lives close to me, has this issue, I can easily tell them, I know his house, so I know Mr. Okoro used to visit Mr. So and so.
I met him. We met before. Come and test me,
You have to help out, but you can't even help. And you are telling me this morning that you are going after some people who are tested positive. Meanwhile, some people ran away. That you are also trying to trace them. So it doesn't even make sense to me. In fact, they also confided in me that there was a man in LLA1 who was in a hospital, and they confirmed him to be positive and told the hospital to hold him down. That same man, they held him for almost 24 hours till 4 p.m. the following day. The man escaped. He left the hospital.
Wow.
So what they now did was they had to go to MTN the following day to go track the man through his number. That was how they were able to get him. How long are we going to continue like this?
It's quite
So
unfortunate.
the question is, where did he escape to? Who did he meet? These are the issues.
It's quite unfortunate, Mr. C, what's happening. But I think it's also important that we get such information out so that those who can do something about it will do something about it. And I think what you said is very important, and it's very, very necessary that we look at, which is that we can't have the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the governments, be it federal or state, being secretive about everything that is going on. People need to know who has been affected, where they are, who they are, so that they can also say, oh, I know where they are, I know who they are, I know I've met this person before. We can get more information out, because you've said it, we have more cases than we actually think we do. And it's so sad. Yeah.
Family members of the people too also need to be protected.
Yes.
Because if the family members are not aware, and he decides to go somewhere else to go meet another family relative, don't you see how it's spreading? It's spreading. But even if I know and I want to show you love, I will protect myself and still show him the same love. But when I'm showing you love, because they showed this guy love, this lady I'm talking about, without any form of real protection. She won't told me her last son was sleeping with a guy on the same bed. But the last son was discovered that he died when he went to sleep.
Oh my God. Oh
You can imagine.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Just imagine.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's so funny.
We keep hearing, young people are not affected. Young people are not susceptible to this. It's for old people. I just hope that it's not coronavirus that killed him. Maybe it's something else, because I fear, like you do, for the family, for the woman and her children, for everybody around them. I just pray. And I don't know. It seems we are playing. When you first told me this story, Mr. C, Fyneface, if you're listening as well, I asked him, Fyneface, and I said to myself, what are we doing with all the money that the private sector put aside for, as support for coronavirus? What are we doing with it?
Exactly. That is the first thing I wanted.
Honestly, I really cannot tell. I really cannot tell, because I really can't tell. I saw the governor today of Rivers State, with all due respect, in the Lekaya Isolation Center, and I was asking myself, is this an isolation center or what? Honestly, I really don't understand.
Mr. C, we want to thank you very much for your time. It's a pathetic and a sad tale, but I remember that some time ago we had a human rights case, and it was somebody, a spirited member of the public in Rivers State, who came out to help the person affected. And God always uses one person to try and help the rest of humanity. So let's see. This might be a wake-up call for the state government, the federal government as well, to make sure that things in Rivers State are put up as they should be. I know His Excellency the Governor has been screaming from the top of his voice, like you would agree with me, that the federal government is not helping Rivers State. But you've talked about Edo State and the fact that they are moving ahead to do their thing, because they know that they have only one life to live and they have to protect their lives and not wait for somebody to come and do it for them if they don't want to do it for them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So much. I will definitely be staying in touch, because we want to know, and if we can help, support anyway the family, the woman and the kids, because that's very important right now. And we just pray that at the end of the day they would say it's something else other than coronavirus. That's our earnest prayer. But thank you very much.
I sure will keep you posted as soon as I get more information. I'll call you and let you know.
Please, and thank you very much for the great assistance and help you give this family.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Fyneface.
Yes.
CLC Wahala, my brother.
Yes, I heard Mr. C and what he explained. And there are certain very critical points he raised here, which I also want to interrogate. Now, the point of interrogation is the fact that, one, they complain of not having ambulance. Now, for the very first time, if you ask me, I'm getting to know that we have Center for Disease Control in Rivers State. I never knew they are in Rivers State, and I don't even know where their office is in Rivers State. So all my mind had always been that the Rivers State Ministry of Health gets a kind of test of people and then send to them in Benin, where they are said to be closer to, and then they do it. So if they are in Rivers State, how would they say they do not have ambulance? And if they do not have ambulance, how prepared are they to fight COVID-19 in the state? And just some few days ago, we had some ambulances donated by Shell to the Rivers State government in the fight against COVID-19. So how many faces do we have? Is it that the state government is fighting COVID-19 differently? NCDC is fighting it differently? And how is it really going? Are they having a common front to fight the COVID-19 in the state? So we really need to know, because we have ambulances in this state. Even before the donation of ambulances by Shell to the state government in the fight against COVID-19, the Rivers State government has ambulances in the Rivers State University Teaching Hospital. They have ambulance there. The University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital also has ambulance that could be dedicated for this purpose, because if a particular ambulance is being used to convey people that are suspected to have contracted COVID-19, then that ambulance becomes special ambulance that is set aside for that. So that becomes an issue. Now, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, and of course, the task force we have at both the state and the federal level, they have enough resources to be able to fight this. So if Rivers State, as a government, cannot pursue a particular case of this nature, then what are we expecting from the federal government? If a call is made to that center, immediately they are supposed to respond even at that midnight. The issue of COVID-19 is already an emergency nationwide. And the current lockdown we are suffering in Port Harcourt is a declaration of a state of emergency, which a lot of lawyers have said even the state governments don't have power to do so. But there is an executive order that granted these powers to the governor and is doing that. So if there is an emergency in place to fight this disease, how come a call was made at that point in time and they could not move down to respond to that call, isolate people there, carry out a test, and we get to know, how, the person first sick and even died. And if it is COVID-19, we begin contact tracing to get the people he has gotten in touch with and then isolate them and then begin to pursue. So if things like this are still happening and we cannot respond on time, then we are not ready to fight COVID-19. Then I see the fight we are currently fighting in the state as fighting human beings, the human beings and not the invisible enemy. Because we really need to look at this matter. He has mentioned Okrika, he has mentioned even One area. Those areas should be combed to get to know the people that they can actually test around those areas. And if it is found out that the person that died actually contracted and died as a result of COVID-19, then the area that the person had contact should have a lockdown. That is how lockdown should be done.
Okay.
The lockdown we are currently suffering from or experiencing or obeying, we don't know why it was done. Because the lockdown is here, people face nose mask is not being shared. We are in a lockdown. You don't have tests being carried out. We are just in a lockdown. For what reason are we in a lockdown if we are not taking certain steps to handle issues of this nature? So I think lockdown should be declared in an area where someone would have been suspected to contract COVID-19 or died as a result of COVID-19 so that people there cannot move. And then the medical team will move in to bracket them and then be able to carry out tests to make sure that they don't circulate it to other places. So as it is now, the purpose for this lockdown, according to the governor and the government of Rivers State, is that they are trying to stop COVID-19 from spreading. But you have not identified any case in a particular area or in the city, so to speak, that you are locking down. So it becomes a challenge. So I think they really need to look into this matter and see what they can do about that.
You said it all. It becomes a challenge. Segmenting areas to say we're going to, cordon off maybe Ozuoba or cordon off for Krika. We're going from house to house, Krika, to see who is in the house. How many of you come out? We want to test you. We move from compound A to compound B. We move from compound B to compound C. But what we are seeing in this case, like you've said, Fyneface, is we're just doing lockdown for the sake of lockdown. And people are just staying at home and no testing is going on. And I agree with what the gentleman on the phone said, that for places, geographical areas that have experienced a high number of cases, if you check very well, they're doing a great amount of testing. In Ghana, for instance, where they're testing with drones. He mentioned Edo State as well. So I don't understand. In Ghana, when they locked down, they went from compound to compound in some areas to run tests.
That is how it's supposed to be.
Yes, my brother.
That is exactly how it's supposed to be. But we are not having that kind of thing happening here, and it becomes a challenge because it seems we are not ready.
Okay, very quickly, please. Let me just take some messages because of time. Martin Zwoke says, with the way things are going in Rivers State, hopefully the federal government will soon place the state on a total lockdown. I hope that Rivers State then, the Rivers State government will not start crying foul. Chomodu says, it doesn't seem to me that there is a clear-cut action plan to necessitate a total lockdown of Port Harcourt. One had expected that while there is a lockdown, the governor would be busy at the testing centers. What one has seen is mere showmanship, mere tokenism. Why ask a pregnant woman if she doesn't know that there is a lockdown? I saw that video, and some people were saying, that His Excellency allowed a pregnant woman to go. He saw her on the road. He allowed her to go. This was in reaction to yesterday's incident, Fyneface. But some people who had a contrary view said that. But if you listen to that video, he said to the lady, "Don't you know there's a lockdown?" In other words, saying, why are you moving around? Don't you know there's a lockdown? Oh yeah, go. I'm permitting you to go because you're pregnant. So that's what he's referring to. Different views from different people. He says, why ask a pregnant woman if she doesn't know about the lockdown? Those questions were unnecessary. Merely looking at a pregnant woman was enough to ask her to go. An attack on the attack of health workers by the task force and even the closure of such health facilities. It is important the governor knows this is a gross violation of international humanitarian law. Acho is a lawyer, by the way. Thanks for your time, Acho. Chidi Anderson says, I really don't get angry when I hear someone calling Nigeria a zoo. Animal Kingdom. I also believe 95 to 98% of the police personnel are untrained and criminals. The good ones are very few. Chidiadi Matthias says, Kofi River State is, I don't know how I should read this, but you're not too happy with the way things are. Imagine the governor giving a lockdown order to a few local government areas, and the local government chairman used his hand to extend another to another local government area. Okay, they are trying to show they are working. Fyneface, what do you think? That he said the governor gave 2 local government areas lockdown, and another local government chairman said he's also extended it to his own local government area as well.
That is equally local government area.
Maybe he's trying to show that he's working.
Yeah, but that is not what to do. In River State, people don't respect the rights of people. People don't know their limits. Under which power does a local government chairman have to declare state of emergency in a local government area or to shut down a local government? Under which law is that being done? Why are we operating as if we are in a different republic? The power to do things like that in the first place is in the Constitution and only belongs to the president to shut down. But because of certain executive orders that have been signed, like the River State governor had also signed, he was able to shut down these 2 LGAs. What power is the Ikwere local government chairman using to shut down his local government area? The only power he has to do so is because he has the army with him, he has the police with him, and they all have guns, and they have cars, and they could move around and molest and abuse the rights of people. That is what you see. And the people, the citizens, because they don't want problem, and a lot of them don't even want to raise alarm about this, they kind of obey those things. So it's not done. It's not done. People like that should be sued to court. Let them, although the courts have been sure, they can be sued to find out, to challenge their powers. These kind of things are not done. If he wanted to a kind of lock down his LGA, he should link up with the governor of the state. Give the governor reason. Shut down my local government area.
So do you think he's usurping the power of the governor?
Exactly. That is what he's doing. And I think the governor should actually look into that too, by asking him where he has the power to shut down the local government area the same way he did through the Executive Order 6, under which we are locked down now.
Interesting times to live in River State in particular. Chi Diadi Mathas, just go back to your message and read again. It says River State is not the best state to live in. Imagine the governor of the state giving a lockdown to 2 local government areas, and the local government chairman using his hand to extend it to his own local government area. It says we should learn from other states on how to control its citizens in the pandemic, not the other way around. Why will someone want to CK force the Korea local government area to go on total lockdown? Was he the governor, or is he the governor of River State? Kofi, some members of the task force did not go to school at all. Governor Wike should explain the meaning of his grammar to them, I beg. Okay, Acho is back. Acho Bodu says, does it look like the governor is fighting COVID-19? Does it not look like it's a jamboree and mere show of might? Imagine what they did to a lecturer pharmacist. Then worse things are happening to members of the lower rung of society. Thank you for your time, Acho Modu Esquire. Chidi Anderson says, and the police will defend their act, or this act, talking about the pharmacists. It's a shame we have armed robbers as police in River State, he says. Okay. Fyneface, you're almost done. I do recognize the time has really gone. AB George Akpaingolo says, good evening, Kofi. The governor should cease the lockdown and rather use a face mask and social distancing to be observed in public places, and those who flaunt these directives should be arrested and prosecuted. The governor should also not auction the seized items for the people, for people to know that he is indeed fighting COVID-19 in the state. John Best Uche says, please, so sorry I'm joining this late, but I'd love to know if the pharmacist that was arrested today is yet to share his experience, because I would love to hear that from him. Thank you. I don't know what time he joined, John, but he did share, yeah. But we'll put the recap up on social media, so just follow. Thank you, John. Sonia Yanebe says, most hospitals are rejecting patients, which is not fair. Sonia, please tell me more. You can send me an inbox, a DM, a message to me inbox, or you can write it here. Dr. Bay Briggs, good evening to you. He says there needs to be a synergy between River State government and the NCDC. The River State government seems to be fighting alone in this COVID-19 pandemic. Fyneface Dumnamene Fyneface raised an important point there. We must tone down politics and fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much, my brother B.A. Briggs. Fyneface, we've spent quite a lot of time, and I know that you would like to retire to your family. So any final thoughts before you go? Any final words you'd like to say before you go?
Yes, my final thought would be that the Nigeria Center for Disease Control should be prepared to fight COVID-19. If they have an office in River State, if they have staff here, they must equip that office. They must empower their staff to be able to respond to emergency calls within this period. I also do know that the River State Task Force on COVID-19 has a number. Rivers people and Rivers residents should also call that phone number whenever they have challenges, and they should be able to respond. I also want a kind of unity, kind of the River State's COVID-19.
Hello, Fyneface, are you there? Okay, we seem to be having problems. Fyneface, are you there?
Very closely with the NCDC and, of course, the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. So I'm actually advising that the task force on COVID-19, talking about the River Teaching Hospital, they should all work together in this fight against COVID-19. River State had some ambulances donated days ago. I believe that ambulance should be put to use so that responses, a kind of emergency calls like this can be responded to. And the pharmacists that had his rights violated after he was exempted from those who should not close their shops should pursue his rights, and I believe that the governor is going to address that. And then the governor should try as much as possible to give the NCDC whatever support they need to be able to fight COVID-19 in Rivers State. And Rivers people whose rights are being violated in the process of the fight against COVID-19 should not be silent. They should call the radio stations, they should call us in the NGO and report some of these things. By the time we document some of these things, with time we'll be able to seek redress for them. I believe that if we collectively check the excesses we are experiencing within this period, it's going to go a long way to enable us to advise the government and to talk to the government and people in authority on how they should go about this, because we cannot see a situation whereby we are fighting an invisible enemy and the citizens are having their rights violated and then passing through these kind of challenges.
Well said, Fyneface. I want to thank you very much for your time. A final message coming in here on Twitter. Miss Rebel says you can't shut down pharmacies now. How can fuel stations be considered essential but not pharmacies? Thank you very much for your tweet. We also have, okay, I think this one isn't concerning what we are talking about. Fyneface Dumnamene Fyneface has been a guest today, and Fyneface is a human rights environmental activist, and he is also a youth advocate as well. He is the executive director of Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, and has joined us from his home in Port Harcourt. Fyneface, it was a thrill having you. My name is Kofi Bartels. Thank you very much for your time and for your messages. This is Late Night Talk for this week. It's been a very eventful week. I'll take a 2 days off over the weekend and be back on Monday with more interesting conversations. Please do well to like my Facebook page. Also go to my YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube page. Also share this post so that other people can watch and also like and also subscribe as well. click the notification button so that anytime we go live, you get notified. That way you don't miss our live stream as well. And please, if you have any, inquiries, you can reach me, send an inbox to me. You want to sponsor, you want to advertise, you want to give us some suggestions, you want to just help what we're doing. It's basically just me powering this by myself so we can keep having, at least maybe buy data. But you shouldn't do it if Fyneface, I keep telling them, you don't bring money if you're struggling to survive this period. Don't worry about it. But if you have more than enough to share, you can help me buy data and also buy fuel for the generator I use. Because always, Jen, for the 2 hours we are on or wherever, in fact, 1 hour before we start, we power our generating set. The people who help us here to hold the lights, hold the camera and all that, we need to give them, something as well. So if you're watching, you want to sponsor, please send me a DM or a message inbox, and I'm very glad. Guess what? We made Instablog yesterday, so I want to thank all of you. They put up one of our discussions. Fyneface, we'll have you again because we've thoroughly enjoyed our time with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.